Going back to the UT Martin game, obviously a frustrating game from time to time. We finished strong. We took them back down to the wire. Had some things, go our way in the third quarter. Needed some stops in the fourth, but I think we grew as a team from it. We sat down and as a full defensive staff, every single position group was in the room. We went through and we basically play for play said, is it three things? Is it effort? Is it schematics? Or is it execution? Every single one. And the beauty of it was there was a few of each. So we could all show accountability and all show things we need to grow from. And offensively, we did the same thing. We sat in the room and we watched the plays. And by position group, you were able to hear your teammates talk, hear your coaches talk on how every single person at every position is being coached. And that does nothing but help you grow. Again, we've got some guys that haven't played together a ton. But, again, we had a tough physical week of practice. We're not at the point where, usually a bye week comes and you can maybe take the pads off and dial it back and really sharpen a few things here and there. We kept the pads on all week. We had a tough physical practice to work on some things, just core football fundamentals that we needed to get better at. So I think we're ready to take the next step on our home opener. Got a good opponent coming in, Utah Tech. They did a nice job this weekend against Northern Arizona, put up a bunch of points. They're totally capable. And I think our guys are excited to get back and get ready to go.
How's Jacob's shoulder?
I think he's getting better. It was good to have a bye week at that time because he was pretty beat up. And, again, I would have loved to have had him in on the last series, but he had a little nerve issue and really couldn't even open the palm of his hand. We've got that calmed down a little bit. He took some steps last week forward with some mental reps. He'll get back into some physical reps this week, and I think he'll be ready to go on Saturday.
So he'll be behind center if he's good to go?
Yes. Yeah, he'll be our starting quarterback.
When you get to this point with you're 4 in a way, and you're seeing some of those lack of effort plays there in the second game of the year. Is that concerning? Just what is that with this group? Yeah,
we got to find out, again, kind of some self-motivation things of, getting yourself ready to come out when the ball snapped and then also sustaining it throughout a game. Yeah, it's frustrating, but you also have to look at each team as an individual product of itself. You can't talk about 4 years ago team, 3 years ago team. What is the current team right now? Have these guys gelled efficiently? Have they, have they played together very much? Do we have some new starters? Sure. But, again, as coaches, we need to make sure that can't ever happen again. And, again, like we talked about, going in there as a full group, having some accountability of, hey, it's the man in the mirror sometimes. You got to go play.
Coach, what was it like to see your team under your first year buy in to what you guys are doing to come out that second half and put up 17 unanswered? What did that say to you about this team's resolve?
It means we're capable. It means we're not going to fold. We're not going to just lay down and take it. We're actually got some fight to us, and we're going to fight back. But on the other side of the coin, we can't let it get to that point. We have to be better as coaches and be better at making sure that our players are ready to play from the first snap to the last snap. But it certainly was good to see because, again, that game could have gone the other direction. I think Jason and them scored 70, 80 points on a team this weekend. So they're certainly capable of it, and we fought back, we battled, and, again, we just got to put a full game together.
How do you guys, as coaches and players, come to an understanding, right? And obviously, football is a violent, heated, intense game. So when you're trying to make adjustments or figure out what's going wrong, whether it's in the film room or in real time in the locker room, how do you guys have that understanding without the infighting and finger pointing, coming into play? Really?
Yeah, it's just got to be pretty matter of fact. It's pretty plain and simple within the scheme. Who's not hitting the gap? What gap is it hitting? And obviously, you have coaches upstairs that relay the message to you in your headset, and we have to go out and execute it. That was one of the things we saw from some of the issues we had in the fourth quarter, where once we make an adjustment, that means it's for every single series moving forward. And, again, guys that haven't played very many snaps and guys that haven't been in the heat of the battle, it was good to show them that, the third quarter's great, but you've got to sustain that throughout the rest of the football game.
I know you want competition all the time and everything, but when you look at some of the defensive things throughout that game against UT Martin, whether it's the tackling, being in the right spots at the right time, simple stretch plays on the opening play of the game that goes for 81. How much is things going to look different as far as personnel this week? Just how are there going to be changes in the lineups from what you see?
No, Wyatt, I don't think there's going to be a bunch of changes. Again, the schematics of it, are what it is. Obviously, we'll have some different looks because it's a different type team coming into play. But when you look at the film and you look at how it should have fit, you feel good about your process of how your defensive scheme fits a simple zone play or a simple stretch play. And again, I think we'll keep coming along, understanding the fine-tuning of, we call it fixing a 5-box. When the linebackers walked out, you got to change the front, you got to cut the front and adjust. So we'll keep getting better at that, and then, again, look forward to a great game this weekend.
Coach, I'm curious, the offensive line has been under a microscope since before the first snap of the season. How do you grade them out after the first 2 games? And it's hard to nail down, I think, during the action and everything else, but how many different guys are getting reps in the offensive line right now? And after 2 games, have you settled on a core 5, or is there always going to be some movement on that line?
I think it's always good to have a little bit of movement to keep some guys fresh, especially guys that, again, haven't been with us for a very long time, and they have different things they're good at. For instance, I feel much better about our pass pro for the most part, and even when we are getting a little pressure to us, Jacob's done a great job of being able to handle the blitz and being able to move throughout the pocket. The big thing we focus on in the bye week is our run blocking, moving the line of scrimmage, and actually being able to play with great pad level and open up those spaces. We have great running backs. We have to just, again, on offense and defense, we talked about getting good at 3 things and doing those 3 things to the best of our ability and becoming efficient at something. It doesn't have to be a huge pile of schemes. Find something you're good at, call those plays, and go be successful.
Is there a point of emphasis with Tech this week? Is there any one thing about them that really stands above the rest that they're capable of doing?
They can really throw the ball. Last week, they had a ton of passing yards. I'm not sure exactly the number. Threw for a bunch of touchdowns. The quarterback is totally capable. And if you've watched the first 3 games of theirs, they've played 2 guys. I think they've kind of got settled in on a starter, but their wide receivers, in my opinion, are their best group. I think they do a good job stretching the field. They're great in and out of routes, and they're tough. The one thing you're going to see from Tech coming in is they're a tough football team. They've been road warriors. Went to Montana State, Montana. I mean, they've battled Northern. They've had a hard road, and I guarantee you they're not going to come in here and lay down. So we better be ready to go.
How much different are they now compared to when you guys played them in that regular season finale a couple years ago?
Yeah, that's a great question. We actually just watched that before we came in for about the 2nd or 3rd time throughout the last few weeks. They're a little different just because, last time we saw some 20 personnel, 2-back run game stuff that they hadn't been doing much of going into the game. I think they're going to tempo, obviously seeing the success that Kansas and UT Martin have with some tempo things. Again, we've worked on that in practice, trying to get better at aligning and getting our eyes right and getting ready to go for that.
Coach, you have a number of players on this roster that are really just getting their first reps at this level. What does that do to challenge your coaching staff to bring them up to speed, knowing every week you guys are going out there to play for a win or a loss?
Absolutely. We talked earlier today as a staff about we are on these young men all the time about consistency. They need to get some consistency from us, from the head coach to each position group, knowing that we're going to show up every single day ready to go with a positive attitude, and they're not going to get – the little things become the big things. Just like, we talked about tackling earlier. That's a day one fundamental of camp. If you see it in practice and a guy's not in great body position, go run up to him and make sure that he's in better position the next time. Make it a point. We're aggressive coaches. We have to make sure that they understand that the standard is the standard, and when they're not up to the standard, you're challenged. It's not okay to not do it right.
And from the point of being home this week as opposed to worrying about travel and all these schematics, how does having a home game help you guys as coaches and players just focus on the ball and not worry about the logistics of everything else? Yeah,
I think it'll be really nice. Obviously, the first few games, you go to Kansas, a Power 5 team on the rise, one of the more prolific offenses in FBS right now. Then you go on the road to UT Martin. Really good program there. Have some great challenges with their coaching staff. You play decent in both of those games. So I think this is the week we really take a step forward, put it all together, come out and play for the home fans because it should be a good crowd. They just put some things out today about some improvements they've made, which are exciting, and we can't wait to play for everybody here in Springfield.
How important is this week's game just to establish some confidence and momentum, not only for the players but for the fan base?
It's tremendously important. We have to show them that we're capable of putting a good, consistent product on the football field, and that we're an exciting brand of ball, and there's no better time than your home opener to do that.
I'm sorry, did you talk about establishing a home field advantage for the players?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, our fans can help us do that, being noisy, being loud, and coming in full force to the stadium. But for us, if you protect the house and you win every single game at home, you got a chance to do some decent things in the conference, and that challenge starts on Saturday. You have to make sure where you have your sweat equity, where home is, you got to protect the house.
How's Connor? Connor Lake?
He's doing well. We're going to release some things about kind of his next few steps. Obviously, it's a challenging situation, and there's been a lot of things going on behind closed doors for our football team. When guys are going through medical issues and serious ailments, these guys are young men. They're not robots. They're not just, pieces of a puzzle. They're human beings with real emotions, and that's a tough pill to swallow. It has started getting out about 2 or 3 weeks ago, kind of what he was going through, and it came to a head after the UT Martin game. And he's a special person. Connor is one of those guys that he lights up a room when he walks in. I've known him for a long time. I was a lead recruiter on trying to get him here to our university, and we're fully supporting him, and we're going to come out throughout the next few weeks in some ways to support him as a community and try to rally some support around him. But he is in our thoughts and prayers constantly, and if anybody can do it, he can.
Still around you guys and everything?
No, he's actually he's going to take a leave and then go to his treatment facility and start his treatment. But again, we'll put something out on that and go from there. Let him share his story.
Coach, how does maybe that, right, that's a trial that you never want to see a person go through, but how does that trial that he goes through as a member of this team, how does that help unify this group and focus their energy more on each other and playing for each other?
Yeah, it sure as hell better galvanize us. Trials and tribulations, steel is forged by fire. And there's no more of a challenge and trial than, watching one of your brothers go through cancer treatment. It's a serious deal. And kind of how we've looked at it, guys, I've said it a ton in front of you guys, time is promised to no one. You get these days and you have the attitude that you can take every single day when you wake up. Am I going to make the most of today, or am I going to let today beat me in some way or form? There's people going through things all across the country every single day that no one knows about. It's how you fight through it and how you persevere. And I think that's really resonated with our players in regards to, guys, college football is what you get to do. You don't have to do it. You're not being forced to do this. This is something that, God's given you the ability to do. Pay it back. Pay it forward to, you talked about our hometown fans. These people are going to come pay good money to watch you play. Give them your best performance. Give them everything you got and sell out for the university and the name on the back of your jersey.
Okay, so that kind of answers the question. All right, when you got here in December as the official head coach, I asked you, what did the statement "pressure is a privilege" mean to you? Do you feel maybe now in the 9-10 months since you've been here that maybe your thoughts have changed or been the same as this opportunity, what you just said?
It's the exact same. Pressure is a privilege. Again, I got multiple degrees. I can go, do something else with my time and make a fine living. But we get to do this. We get to come to work every single day and be around young men that have all those things going on in their life. Some are sick. Some have parents that are dying and grandparents that are dying. But we get to be around them and uplift them and be a vessel for their football careers and their future success as people. Again, to me, coaching is a calling. Coaching isn't something that you just pick up the paper one day and say, hey, I'd like to go give this a try. You're around these young men constantly, and they deserve your best effort.
Obviously, you said bye week comes at a good time for Jacob, but the way that game ended, I'm sure it just also gives you a lot more time to think about what you would have done differently if you could have. What's that been like for you and the team?
Yeah, it's been a tremendously long bye week. It has been a long time. I know we're all chomping at the bit to get back at it. The staff has been, working tirelessly to kind of fix a few of the things we had going on, and I think again, it's not a bad time because it builds some confidence and some momentum with practice, because you have to have confidence on the practice field to feel it, move forward to the game, get ready to go. And I think we're in a really good place.
What is your favorite thing about the home opener? This will be several times for you having done it. What are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, there's something always special about playing at home. This is where we practice. We only have one field here in Missouri State. So where you practice, where you do running, where you do every single thing from January 1st to the next January 1st is on that field. If there's somewhere that you desire to protect and play hard at, it absolutely should be that place where you've sacrificed so much and put in so much time. It should mean something to you, and it means something to me.